we're making a video. This might be really long, might not be, who knows? But this is what I'm gonna do, right? I'm going to go through a list of all the books I've read. That's gonna be kind of a little bit chaotic. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to list off all the books I read, what I rated it before, and what I rate it now. The white paint doesn't match the wall, don't look at it. My plan this year was to read 42 books. I ended up reading 50, and let's rate them. So I put up my stars. There's 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I try to write down all the dates that I have for when I finish certain books and stuff, but I didn't end up doing a very good job writing it down. Some of them I would review on Goodreads, and some of them I didn't even get to. So I put them all in a pile, just like this. And I put the old rating of it on the back, and we're just gonna go through it. What I did was I printed out all the book covers that I have read this year on a piece of paper, and I've read 50 books this year, maybe a little bit more. Maybe they're not all included, but I kept my best trying to keep track of what I read and what I haven't. They're all here, as far as I know. I rated them on the back, and we're just gonna go through and see what I enjoyed, what I didn't. I can't promise that this is going to be a spoiler-free video, because I don't really know. And we're just gonna go through and do what we do, you know? So first one we got here, we got The First Lie Wins. If I remember this book right, this is also a Reese Book Club book. If I remember this book right, I originally rated this book as a 4. Thing is, like, I kind of remember it still, so that's always a good sign. I think that this book was good, but it wasn't great. So I will leave this at a 4-star rating. All right, our first 4-star book rating. I need a bigger table. I have everything on a chair. The Girl in Seat 2A. I originally rated this a 2. And now, you know, I always drop my ratings down, especially if it's been months and months and months, and I don't remember this book. I feel like I have an idea what this book was about. Let's see if I had any Goodreads rating, because sometimes I would rate them and put a little summary of it. I feel like I didn't enjoy this book very much. Realistically speaking, I do remember this cover because it was kind of pushed. I've seen it a lot. If you go on with the amount of books that I've read this year, a lot of it has a common theme. I did a lot of like thriller type themes. I didn't rate it on Goodreads, besides the 2. And the fact that I don't really remember it, I do kind of, but I didn't really enjoy it too much. So we're throwing this in 1. There we go. Exiled. Next, we got, whoops, spoilers. We got The Summer She Went Missing. This book, I originally rated this as a 4. I feel like this was a pretty good book, and I can kind of recall what happened in the middle of the book and all that stuff. So I feel like this can stay at a 4 because it was quite an interesting book and it was kind of fun to read. And this was the first book I read on Hoopla, I think. I've never used Hoopla. I've always used Libby. 4. We're gonna put her over here. I feel like I also have a common color theme too. Not like I did it on purpose. All right, My Fault. My very first DNF in this pile. I know there's more, but this is my first DNF. But not only is it DNF'd, she is also in jail. I hated this book. And then, if you read anything about the book, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm doing a slight spoiler, no spoiler. It's about step siblings. I didn't like that. That made me feel really uncomfortable. I didn't like that. I hate that. I have read another book about step siblings, but I feel like, okay, here's how I feel about the step sibling trope, okay? So there is another book. I haven't read this year. I read last year. It's by Colleen Hoover. I believe it's called Ugly Love, right? If you know anything about the book is about step siblings, but realistically, at the beginning, they met each other. They kind of fell for each other. And then they find out they're step-siblings. This book, they knew they were step-siblings. They knew they were going into being step-siblings. And then they canoodled. So, DNF'd. Hell no. Jailed. I did not like that. Oh my god, my books! They went everywhere. She's not sorry. So I listened to this as an audiobook, and I even wrote this on Goodreads, and I'm really glad I went back to go see my Goodreads. This was so funny. So I listened to this on Spotify, and if you are the head of your Spotify team, like home or whatever, you get 15 hours of audio credits or whatever. And I picked this book because I was in a slump, whatever. I just saw this book, I picked it up. A lot of the books that you'll see here, a lot of them I'll just pick up and start reading because I just was trying to read as many books as possible. Anyway, so this was one of my Spotify books. I started listening to it, but it was really weird. The pacing of it was really off. It was like, for example, she was, this isn't what happened. It's been so long that I remember, but she's like at a grocery store, and then all of a sudden she's in her basement and blah, blah, blah. And like, it was a really short book. And I knew whenever I clicked on it, it was about 8 hours or more. I can't remember. I knew it had some substance, but I finished it within 3 hours. So I'm like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. And then I eventually went back and I realized that Spotify had shuffled my chapters. So I went back in, and if you look at my chapters, it was like chapter 1 read, chapter 3, chapter 7, it was all over the place. So then I had to go back and listen to it. And actually, this ended up being a really good book. When the pacing was proper, it was exciting. I liked it. I rated it a 4. I will keep it at a 4. She is Not Sorry, rated it as a 4. The Co-Worker. This was my first Freedom McFadden book, okay? And I hate to say it, but I rated this as a 3. And I hate to say it, starting out already, I do not like Freedom McFadden. I've read a lot of her books this year, and the more I read of her books, I kind of figured out her tropes, and I kind of figured out what she liked to do. She does a lot of thriller books, but it was a lot of endings that you kind of knew that was going to happen, but then you knew there was going to be another twist on top of that twist. So it was just very monotonous, and having to read Freedom McFadden feels like the Colleen Hoover of thriller books. Everything was kind of the same kind of tropes, just kind of changed around a little bit to kind of fit some sort of narrative. I ended up not liking any of these books. This book in particular, there is a character, can't remember her name, but she likes turtles, and she would be such a wonderful character. And even with everything that happened in the book, I would really liked her character if it wasn't for the fact that she tried to shove down the facts, all of her turtle facts. I really didn't appreciate it. I rated it a 3 then. I'm rating it a 2 now. The Co-Worker. That's where we're putting it. 4D is our next book, another book by Freedom McFadden. This was an interesting book, and it was okay, but then whenever the plot twist started happening, it made me hate this book. Like, I don't know why, but at the beginning, like, all the thriller books you read, obviously, you are trying to figure out what the character knows while you're reading it. And you're trying to figure out who done it kind of thing before they get there, before the twist. That's what's fun about it. Sometimes you get thrown off. Sometimes you're right on the mark, right? This was one of the book reads that I didn't appreciate. Again, Freedom McFadden, Missy. I'm sorry for all the slander. It's just my opinion. It's just how I read books. It's okay. Anyways, I didn't like this. It was all over the place. It was like, oh, here's how you figure out the twist. This is what happened. And then all of a sudden, like, the rug was pulled out from underneath you. And here's another twist on top of that. It was exhausting. I rate this as a 2. I will put her as a 2. Wait, what did I rate it before? I rated it as a 2 before. It will stay a 2. Unhinged. If you guys ever heard anything about this book, I've heard it on TikTok, and I finally got around to reading it because my sister was reading it. But Unhinged, it's about a book. It's about a door. It's about a girl and a door. I rated it a 1. I almost feel like it should go in jail. I don't know. We'll put it in between. Cause I want to leave it as a 1, but I also want to put it in jail. But like, it's fiction. I mean, it's all fiction. Whatever. I'm in between. She'll be in between. It Starts With Us. So I started reading this book around right before It Ends With Us came out in theaters. And I should have read the first one, honestly, over again, before I read the second one, because I read the second one and it was referring a lot to the first one and I kept forgetting what was going on. I should have just reread the first one. But this was okay. It was a sweet love story. There wasn't a lot of like drama, obviously, but it was nice. I liked it. Honestly, it could have been, this wasn't necessary. I know a lot of people wanted the story with Atlas to continue and all that stuff, but I don't think it was necessary. I feel like this could have been a very short ending to the first book, and then they could have called it good. But I know what happened. I know she wrote It Ends With Us. It did very well, and people wanted more to do with Alice. I did not like this. I'm leaving it as a 3. It was all right. It's not a fantastic read. It was very nice, but it wasn't my favorite. The Watcher. This is a different type of Watcher. I have the other Watcher in my pile, but this is The Watcher by, if you notice, all my pictures got cut out, but it's okay. It's okay. We got the essence of the picture. It's fine. It's by Lisa Sells, I think. This book, it took me so long to try to get through, like trying to choke it down. And it's so boring. I didn't like it. 1, here we go. Just trying to make sure it's not off the screen. I don't really know where my borders are. I should have kind of marked those down, huh? The Vacancy in Room 10. This was an interesting read. I liked it whenever I read it the first time. I originally rated it a 4-star, but like now thinking about it, I don't really remember too much of the story. I remember a portion of it, but like I don't remember the ending. But my original rating was the book was very fast paced. It was an exciting twist. I didn't see coming. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm going to leave it as a 4. I'm not going to drop the rating or anything, but I do remember reading it and it was kind of exciting. I feel like I'm going through these really quick, but I'm already 20 minutes into recording, not counting all, if any, of my edits. Swarm. I listened to the audiobook of this on Hoopla, and I rated this a 4-star. And this was really exciting. It was, it's about this moth creature taking over the whole world. And I thought it was really exciting to read and kind of getting to know the characters. There's, I think, 4 of them that are stuck together in a house together. And they're all kids and they're kind of trying to figure out stuff on their own. But I really liked this. I ended up rating it a 4. I am going to bump it up to a 5 because I've been thinking about it. I thought about it throughout the year quite a bit. And that's a good sign. If you think about a book a lot throughout the year, it's a good sign, right? Do not open. I read this book and I rated it a 1 back then, and I'm going to rate it a 1 again because I don't remember anything that happened in this book. And if I remember right, there's another sequel, and it kind of ended in a way where I was kind of rolling my eyes at it. I didn't really appreciate it. I didn't really like it. So I'm throwing this in the 1 pile. Never Lie. Frida McFarlane. Hey girl, it's me. I rated this a 4 way back then. And you know what? I'm going to rate it a 4 again because I'm thinking about the book and I'm thinking about the twist. And it was actually very, like, the twist was kind of pushed in front of your face the entire time. And you're like, okay, this is happening. Okay. And then when it gets to the end and they reveal everything, you're like, no way, you're joking. This was a good read. I really liked it. 4, I'm rating it a 4 again. Look at this. My wall's filling up. It's pretty. I should have had a better jail. I'm not gonna lie. The Inmate by Frida McFarlane. I'm not doing this on purpose. It's just in my pile. I originally rated this a 3. I liked the book up until a certain point. So I feel like if the book would have ended at a certain point, I would have liked it, right? I liked this book up until that certain point. And then after that, I wish the twist was something completely different, but it went down the same route that it was predicted. I wish it would have twisted again and went down the other route, but it didn't. I rated this originally a 3. I'm gonna put this in the 3 pile because I want to give it a better ending, but it's fine. It's fine. None of this is true. None of this is true. I rated this a 3 back in the day, and honestly, kind of looking back, I remember a few things here and there, and this kind of felt like a very boring, slow read. So I didn't enjoy it very much. I'm gonna rate it a 3 once again. Too late. I don't remember anything about this. I rated it a 2. I'm putting it down to a 1. If your book can't stay in my brain, you're losing a star. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. The Tenant. I do remember this book. It wasn't great. It was okay. And at the end of it, I rated it a 2. I'm gonna rate it a 2 once again. I don't know. Some of these books I kind of read throughout the year and I just like didn't love as much as I would like to. That's okay. Sometimes you read guts. I'm finally down to one of my series. So we'll rate all of these at once. Let me put them in order. So this, I don't remember who it's by, but originally I read this book. Wait, was it? First Down. And then we got, oh God, I can't read backwards. Breakaway. And then we got Stealing Home. So these, okay, these two boys are friends. These two girls know each other, but I can't remember how. And then this girl on the end is this blonde girl's best friend, but this guy is adopted into the boy's family. Okay, so I liked the idea of having these like siblings kind of thing, and I kind of liked it a lot. But my ratings kind of dropped after a while. So these two I rated a 3, and then this one I rated a 2. And that is because these two had more substance, right? It had more chemistry. They kind of fell in love, and you could tell that they were like liking each other a little bit. This one kind of just felt like, I don't really love it. I can't remember. I know there was a lot of like push-pull and all that stuff, and I get that trope, but I didn't love this book as much as I liked these two books. And I know there's another one with these two boys' little sister, but I have yet to actually read that, but I'm gonna go ahead and rate those. These go in the 3 pile. I can't remember if these two are friends. No, probably not. I don't remember. And then this, I'm gonna rate a 2. I'm gonna leave it at 2 because, again, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Oh, I got another book series going on. The Risk. Okay, it's called Mindfuck. There's multiple books in this series. And we got The Risk, we got Sidetracked, we got Scarlet Angel, we got All the Liars, and we got Paint It Red. This was a series that was brought to me by my sister. I'm gonna stick it on the wall. I'm gonna stick it on the wall like this. My sister brought this book to me, and she told me, like, realistically, it's technically one full book with a bunch of side books. And I did really much like this whole series. This was a very good series, but it's split off into multiple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's split off into multiple, and you can read it, you can buy it where they sell it all at once into a big book, or they're like broken off. I broke it off into my rating, so I rated 1, 2, 3, 4. I gave them all 4 stars, and the last one I gave 5 stars. This was a very exciting read. It was very good. It was very exciting. I really liked it. It really drew you in. There was a lot of imagery going on. It was really fantastic. However, I do have a qualm with this because it is more of a spicy read, that I hated the fact that whenever the detective would meet the girl, they would just jump on each other. There's no hi, hello, nothing. They just jump on each other. And I get that sometimes it's like that, but it's like every single time. I'm going to go ahead and rate this whole series a 5. It was really good. I really liked it, and I think about it often. It was a good series. The Watcher by A.M. Shine. Okay? This was adaptation into the movie, so I watched the movie first and I read the book. When I did that, when I watched the movie and then read the book, it made the book a lot more, it was a lot better. It had more substance to it and I liked it a lot better. I rated this a 4. It was really good. I really liked this. But if you don't have time, you can just watch the movie. You don't have to go out and read the book. The Never King. This is about, I believe, Hook and Wendy, if I remember right, from Peter Pan. I DNF'd this probably after like a good 20 minutes, maybe less than that. This, however, I believe should go straight to jail. I hated this so much. If I remember right, it's Hook and Wendy. Hook and Wendy. No, please, no. Another jailed. I didn't finish that. I hated it. Awful. I try not to DNF any of the books unless it makes me uncomfortable. And that was one of the books that made me really uncomfortable. Poison for Breakfast. I like the way Lemony Snicket writes his books, which it makes me really want to go back and read the series of Unfortunate Events. I never read them back in school, but I knew a lot of kids that were reading it, and I really want to read it because it was a very interesting book series, and I watched a little bit of the show. It's very good. I really like his writing, but this book was really boring. I'm gonna rate this 2. I feel like I don't have that much left, but look at that. It feels like a hefty pile. If anybody knows anything about me, I am a Friends fan, and whenever Matthew Perry died, it was devastating. And then this year I decided I'm gonna listen to his audiobook, and his audiobook was lovely. I brought a lot of story into his life. He read his own audiobook and it was just great. I really liked it. It talked about his addiction and his struggles, and it really puts you in a place where you kind of know more about the actor, because a lot of times actors aren't allowed to do that because they're actors, that's their job. I really liked this. I rate this a 5. I also don't like rating autobiographies about people's lives, because that's just their life, and I don't feel like I have any say in whether or not I should rate it. I did enjoy it. It was good. Twisted Love. This is my second time trying. I've tried a few years back, but I'm trying it again. Guys, I don't understand. This book is so awful. It's so awful. So awful. I originally rated this a 3, but now she's going down. She's going down to a 1. I hate this. Why do people like this? Maybe I need to read more of her books. Anna? I need to read more of her books because I hated that book. Is it just me? Probably not. I hated it. The Asylum Confessions. Can't say too much about it. It was kind of an interesting read. I don't know. I listened to it more of an audiobook, so I kind of felt more like a podcast anyways. This wasn't great. I know there was a lot more of them. I rated this a 3 at the beginning, but I'm dropping it down to a 2. Purely for the fact that it's whatever. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. Project Hail Mary. I've literally been talking about this all year long. I rated this a 5-star back in the day, and I love this book so much. I recommended it to all of my friends, my family, all my family. I've recommended it to one family member. And I got the book in physical form. I listened to this book in audio book form at first. And can I tell you, if you have a chance, listen to it in audiobook form. The man who does the book reading for this book is so fantastic. He's so expressive with everything that's going on. It makes this book 10 times more enjoyable. It is so good. I love this. I cried. I cried at the beginning. I didn't cry at the beginning. I cried at the end. It was so emotional and it was so loving. And I didn't know that this was the same person that wrote The Martian, so I might read The Martian. There's another book that he wrote, and I can't remember what it is, but I might pick that up this year. But this was so good. This is so fantastic. Martian. Look, it says Martian right there. Anyways, I want to give it more than a 5 star. This is, but we'll put it here. My fantastic book. If you have a chance, please read that. You've reached Sam. I've seen this book. It's so cute. It's so cute. I love the cover. It's beautiful. I believe it was written by a Vietnamese person, but don't quote me on that. I don't remember. This book was okay. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't slight spoilers, but he dies. And she's going through the grieving process. They used to date. And a lot of people around her are getting really upset that she's kind of closing off on them and all this stuff. And I don't understand that, because she's going through a grieving process. Of course, she's going to be closed off to certain people, and she's not going to want to talk to people, and she doesn't want to hang out with people and all that stuff. And she's not going to answer the phone all the time. So I feel like a lot of people in this book were being unfair to her. I rate this a 3. The Silent Patient. This was one of the first couple books I read last year, I remember. And this book was so predictable, it was unreal. 2 stars. 2 stars. Do I want to drop it? Nah, that's fine. We'll leave it as a 2 star for now. Normal People. I was recommended this by my cousin, and she had me read it. And this was the hardest book to read for me because it took me a really long time to read. I don't like the way this author presents her writing. There's no quotation marks on when people are talking, so I don't know if it's inner dialogue or outside dialogue, but this wasn't a great read for me. I hated it. I hated it so much. I struggled all the way through. It took me, I think, 2-3 months to finish this book because I didn't want to read it. And then I ended up watching the show. The show is a little bit more interesting. It goes through literally everything that's in the book, practically. If I had a choice, I would just watch the show. I'm going to rate this a 2 because watching the show kind of helped me understand the book a little bit more. Not great, but it was there. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Have you seen this book? I feel like everybody has seen this book at least once in the bookstore, anywhere. I rated this a 4. It's a pretty good book. I wanted to read more motivational self-help books throughout the year. This was probably my one and only, and I don't even know if you would qualify that as a self-help. But yeah, I rated this a 4. Here we go. Starting another line. I'm running out of room. You know what? I was worried that this wall was going to be ugly and empty. The Perfect Son. Frida McFarlane. Girl, I hated this book. 1. Not even, I don't want to even say anymore. I'm going to put this next to the trash can. I moved it down, but just know that it's a part of this. Part of 1 and the trash. It's jail. It's not trash, it's jail. Pretty Girls. Pretty Girls is another book that I really enjoyed. I originally rated a 5 star. I believe it's still a good book, but now thinking about it, I don't remember what the summary of the book is. Let me see if I wrote any. I don't know if I wrote any, what's it called? Any reviews for it? But let's take a look. Oh, yes. I did really like this book because a lot of it, there was a lot of twists that you couldn't predict. It was crazy. And I really like books that you can't predict the ending at all. And it kind of just blew my mind a little bit. I originally rated this 5 stars. I'm going to go ahead and rate it 5 stars again. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Oh my God, my tape. All right. Love and Other Words. I loved this. Childhood friends to lovers, to strangers, to lovers again. It was so good. I loved it. It was fantastic. I really liked it. I cried multiple times in the book. I'm gonna rate this a 5. It was rated a 5 before. I haven't changed. Big Little Lies, as a book, this was very boring. I just wanted to like get it through, and you kind of wondering what's going on. You kind of go through multiple different characters, and it was all right. I ended up watching the show afterwards. I rated this a 3. I'm just gonna put it as a 3 again. Am I running out of space? Brings Me to You, right? This ended up, I didn't find out that this was a book until later. I was like looking it up. I mean, sorry, what? I didn't know that this was a movie until later when I was looking up the book itself. This book was it was boring. It's just two people sending letters back and forth. And then it's like what you want to happen kind of happened at the end. And it was just like kind of, I don't know. And then watching the show, I think the show made it worse for me. Or it was a movie too. We're running out of space. I'm going to put DNF down here. Spoiler alert. Like I said, I don't really DNF a lot of books. I try to get through all of them unless it makes me really uncomfortable. I ended up only DNFing these 2 books. Next year when I do this, I will figure out the dates that I read books. Behind Her Eyes. Can I tell you, I reread this book 4 or 5 different times because I would pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. And then I would forget where I'm at and then have to start completely over and stuff. This ended up being a 4-star read for me. And then I watched the show, which the show depicts the book very, very well. However, I think because the book was very, like I kept picking it up and then putting it down the entire time, it wasn't very good for me, but the twist was really good. So I am very conflicted on where on the line I want to put it. I almost want to put it smack dab in the middle of 3 and 4. I'll put it as a 4 because it ended up being a good read, but I think at the beginning I was struggling because I was probably falling into my slump. I think around August or September I finally fell into my slump and I kind of just stopped reading. Fucked. This was kind of, I rated this a 3. They both have a podcast, Corinne Fisher and Christina Hutchinson. They both have a podcast together, and I really enjoyed their podcast. And whenever they said they were coming out with a book, I was one of the first people to read it. They even did like a shout out of all the people that read it, and I was so excited whenever I heard my name. But I finally got around to reading it. I didn't love it as much as I wish I did. It kind of just felt like the podcast. It was good though, but not good enough. You're going on the 3 wall. Where are we at? I think that's the last thing I can do. I think I can come down here, but who knows? What if I want to put more 1-star stuff? I'm running out of space. Too Late. This is my second time reading Too Late by Colleen Hoover. And this is one of the books that she talks about how it was completely different writing for her. This is fantastic. It's such a good book for me and I loved it so much. So I'm reading this a 5. Again, very good book. And then my printer ran out of ink. So pretend like this whole book cover is in black. But isn't that kind of pretty? Coraline. I kind of went around and decided I'm going to read Coraline, the actual book, because I did very much enjoy the animated series by Tim Burton and all that stuff. It was very good. But nothing. Like, I could have just watched the movie. It wasn't great. I heard the movie has a lot of Easter eggs and stuff like that. I rated this a 3 originally, but I'm going to throw it down to 2 because, again, I feel like you could just read it. But no, you could just watch it. Don't read it. A Child Called It. I finally got around to reading this. I know a lot of kids were reading this back in like the 3rd grade or whatever. It's a very sad story, and I liked it. It made me tear up quite a bit because it made me sad. And then after reading this, I went to go look at reviews, and a lot of people didn't like this book. I liked it. Would I read it again? Probably not, but I liked it. Umbrella Academy. I decided to read the Umbrella Academy comics because the show was done at the time, and it made me very nostalgic for it. So I went back to read it, the comics, and this was pretty good, but like it wasn't great. I rated this a 3. Do we have space for it? I'll put that there. Now I have 2 more books, and it's a part of a series. I got 2 books. It's The Orphan, the first one, and the second one. And I rated this the exact same. I both gave them 3 stars, and this was a pretty good book, but I kind of threw myself into listening to this book not knowing anything about it, which again, a lot of these books on this wall I kind of threw myself into not knowing anything about it, but this was really good. It was really exciting. I only got to the second book and then I fell into a reading slump. That's the only reason, but this so far has been a pretty good book, and we're rating it a 3. I don't want to block these other ones. All right, so this is my wall. Hopefully that's 50 books. I'm not counting them. You can pause to count if you want to, but as far as I know, I've read 50 books this year. I've been trying to increase my reading to about 12 every year, and 2022, I wanted to read at least 42 books. This upcoming year, 2025, I'm reading 54. And if you had to ask me, which book was the worst on this wall? Let's see. Which one did I hate the most? Honestly, not counting the DNFs, Unhinged is I hate this book so much. It's so awful. I hate it. I hate it so much. But my favorite book this year, Project Hail Mary. Will I read it again this year? I don't know. That's the thing. Sometimes I get really nostalgic and I really like something. I might read it again. That's not crazy of me, but I might read it again. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave my Goodreads in the description down below. I started picking up something called Fable. This is so cool. Look at this. That's just so cool. I like that. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.